Hello there, it's Paul here and welcome along everyone. Last year I took a trip down to Suffolk to see my uncle as he had recently cut down a walnut tree in his garden. Here's my car full of fresh walnut that I brought home, and while I was there he brought out a smoking pipe for me to have a look at. He just asked me, is this something that I could make? So I said, well, I'll take some pictures and I'll see what I can do. So that's what this project is all about. So the first thing here is really preparing your blank. The standard wood that is used to make a pipe is called Briar wood. Briar wood is actually quite expensive, and when I did a bit of searching on the internet for this, I found that cherry was a very, very good alternative. So what I've done here is basically I've cut the blank at an angle, and this is where the angle of the pipe is going to be for the mouthpiece. And it's important as well that then you mark off all the centres. Also on the blank, just lay out some rough lines of where you want everything to sit, because it will make life a lot easier. This project actually took me 4 attempts to do. This particular one in the image at the moment was actually my second attempt, because I've videoed different pieces in different situations and gone back and included them in so that at least there's a full video here. So mounting in the chuck, I've basically took out 2 of the jaws, so therefore it's not going to hold so tight, but it's ideal for this type of wood. And I've used the tailstock just to bring up so I could totally centre where I wanted the piece to be. This now is actually the first attempt that I did, and you'll see that I didn't have all the centre lines on, so I've actually just marked out where I roughly want the size of the bowl to be. The next part here is basically just slowly taking your time, because it's only being held in by 2 chuck jaws, so you don't want to be too vigorous with this. Taking the time just to take away as much of the waste material as possible to get started with. This particular pipe the mouthpiece is going to be at an angle. For the cup, just face off the top and then just manually bore out the hole. You can actually buy proper drill bits for this, because the idea with a pipe is that you actually want a very small hole in the bottom, probably about 2mm, and the bottom of the cup actually needs to be flat, so it doesn't want to be all curved. At least this way, when the tobacco is pushed in and burnt, that it doesn't all fall through straight through to the bottom. When I've finished the actual main shape, I'm just using my Ashley Isles box scraper here. This is absolutely ideal just to straighten up the sides and get that very smooth flat bottom. The main hole in the bottom, like I said, is about 2mm, and on the drill bit here I've actually got a piece of tape just so I can look from the top to see how deep I've got to go. The drilling is probably one part you need to be more precise about anything. This is where I also had, I think, 2 failures on attempts here. Was 1, because I didn't actually have the hole lined up properly, and 2, I actually drilled too deep on another hole. So the idea is when you drill in from the end on this piece, because you've already drilled the hole out inside the cup, you can watch the drill bit inside as you go down. When you start seeing wood shavings come out of that small hole from inside the cup, you know you've actually reached the depth you need. The next drill bit I used was a larger piece. This is the size for the internal bore of the actual mouthpiece. Finally, I then just used a larger drill piece. This is for the tenon on the mouthpiece, just for where it glues in together. Back on the lathe, this time it's put in a different orientation, using the live centre on the tailstock just to give it support as well as line it up. This time it's just a case of nibbling away at all that parts for where the mouthpiece is attached to. Just regularly stop and check just to make sure you're not going too far. Because everything's at an angle, it's actually quite easy to start taking out material where you shouldn't be. Once it's down to the rough size, it's just a case of tidying up the end of the piece there. Back into the original orientation, and this time just to tidy up the cup for the size you need. Finally, when everything's done on the lathe, it's just a case of go across to the bandsaw, just cut off all those bigger rough pieces just to cut back on the sanding time. This was actually another failure, and when you look at the bottom, this is the one where I'd actually drilled the hole too deep. Over onto the bench sander, again, just take your time, regularly check what you're doing. You don't want to take too much out. I think the first failure I had on here was I actually caught the part where the mouthpiece goes, and therefore just took too much off the edge, and the mouthpiece wouldn't have sat flush. You're not looking for a precise finish, it just really is a case of getting away most of the rough stuff here. All the detail sanding will be done with the rotary tool. Once you've got everything down to a very rough shape, as much excess off as you can, it's a case of using a rotary tool. Take your time, be light with it, because if you try and be too heavy with it, you'll just start putting burn marks everywhere. I think I've speeded this process up by about 12 times speed. I think it took about 15 minutes. Final thing, onto the buffing wheel. Easiest place to polish it all up. This is just a straightforward compound. Don't know what it actually is. It's the yellow one, and as you'll see here, it really does give a nice finish to the pipe. When everything's buffed up, it's just a case of gluing the mouthpiece on. In this case, I think I've used a medium CA. You want to get a fair bit on just so that you make a full seal, but obviously you don't want to put too much on so that it's spilling out everywhere as you push it in together. Also, if you're using super glue, just make sure you've got it lined up as best as you can as you first put it in, because it will go off really quickly. That's the finished pipe, and with a couple of images on the end. I did actually produce 2 of these in the end, and one of them I did box up and send down to my uncle as a thank you for all the wood, which he was really pleased with. So I hope you've enjoyed this project, different one for a change. I haven't been putting too many videos up lately, I haven't recorded much. Moving forward, I'm actually going to start producing hopefully more better videos like this, which won't come up so often, rather than trying to put 1 or 2 up every single week. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you again soon.